After a month off of 1UP Superstar Series points races, we are back for race number 9 of the 2023 1UP Superstar Series season, and we're here in beautiful California State at Willow Springs Raceway for race number 9 of the season. 34 laps await the 42 drivers here today, and alongside me to bring you the action once again is James Ellison, as it's been for the course of the whole season up to this point. And honestly, this has been a big month for 1UP Racing as a whole. A lot of changes have taken shape over the last month, and some big names no longer on the grid or are on their way out at season's end.
Yeah, it can be a shame, but at the same time, there's a lot to look forward to. And talking about big names leaving already, I don't really even have to say who they are. Anyone who's been paying attention knows and will notice the absence of them in their vehicles or in absence of their cars altogether in superstar competition. But the whole thing moves on. It's just how it goes.
Absolutely. And what's in store for the 42 drivers today? This 2.5-mile high-speed road course with a lot of opportunity for big maneuvers, and a lot can happen here at Willow Springs Raceway. It's the first time 1UP has ever come here, so hopefully we will be able to put on a good show and hope that we'll be able to run here in seasons yet to come. As we can now bring you the full starting lineup for today's race. Emma Carter gets pole position at Willow Springs with Ben McDonald alongside her. This is a home game for Ben, so hopefully he can do well here. Jake McMillan, his teammate, lines up third. He's very good on the road courses. Devin Fair, he needs a strong run. He's right on the edge of the top 30 in owners' points. He lines up fourth, and the big surprise of qualifying was that both of the Motor Dash racing cars, Felix Anderson and Echo Evans Ross, both qualified within the top 10 today. So they're going to be ones to keep an eye on. Will they be able to hold on to those spots all race long, or will they slowly fade over time? I guess we'll be able to figure that out and more as this race unfolds.
Oh yeah, this is definitely going to be big. And being a road course, sometimes road courses can be hard to pass. Sometimes there's all kinds of chaos. It just depends. But I fully believe we are going to see a really good race and this, it's going to be really interesting at the beginning with the way this top 10 is lined up.
And with 2 pit stops slated for today's action, expect a lot of strategy to dictate the outcome of this race as well. Who gets the jump on their opponents with an undercut to get out ahead of them? We're about to find out for sure. So with all the drivers lined up on the grid, it is the 1UP Superstar Series at Willow Springs Raceway, and the green flag is mere moments away from dropping, so stay tuned because the action is about to reach its peak. With Emma Carter and Ben McDonald on the front row for Willow Springs' inaugural 1UP race, the green flag is out in the air, and we are underway for 34 laps, and it looks pretty even. Going into the first corner, it's a tight left-hander, and man, look how these cars are sliding through this turn. This track very slick, and these guys wasting no time trying to push for positions in the early stages.
Absolutely, they want every position they can before things start to string out, because we've seen it on some road courses. Stringing out does happen, but right now they're looking pretty racy as McDonald takes the lead away.
Takes the lead from pole sitter Emma Carter. Everybody makes it through the first set of corners cleanly, which is what we were checking. And Ben McDonald's pulling quite a big lead through turn 4 down into 5, and this is pretty much exactly the dream start for Ben McDonald and for Devin Fair, who jumps up 2 spots in the opening half lap.
Yeah, Fair has had a rough go of it. We've talked about it. I don't think he was even, if I recall correctly, he wasn't even able to get away during the All-Star weekend, which was a big bummer. But right now, he's off to a really good start.
And he's only 1 driver away from taking the lead, a position he really wants to be in. But for now, it's Ben McDonald leading off at turn 9 to complete lap number 1. Everybody looks to be facing the right direction at the end of the first lap, which is always good to see. McDonald leads the first lap by 4/10 over Devin Fair.
Tenths for now, but we know how hungry Fair is for a good result, and definitely a win could really just, shake that monkey or one of the monkeys off his back.
At this point, you'd expect him to have multiple at this stage, but Ben McDonald leading the charge up towards turn 4. This is going to be a tight right, and he seems to be able to crest the hill perfectly, disappearing over the dunes of this California desert road course. And Ben McDonald enjoying a nice lead, but Devin Fair, keep an eye on him. He is hungry, like you said, and he is closing fast.
Closing, but he's not shaking off Emma Carter either. She's hanging back there pretty tough. She wants a good result, and she's had a few good results, but wants more.
Absolutely, it's been a pretty average season for the 70 team. Content to let the 77 of Sam Donato take all the team spotlight, but with him starting in the midfield, it's all about the 70 for Carter Racing System today. And as they come off turn 9 to complete the second lap, the gap at the top has increased to just over 0.4 of a second now.
But not majorly increased, as we see things are shaking up pretty good here throughout the field. Some drivers are not making a whole lot of progress. Others are just fighting hard. And, of course, McDonald, he's just settling in right now.
Yeah, and you can see McDonald, he also holds the fastest lap of the race. That's no real surprise, considering the pace he is setting up at the front. But Devin Fair is still right within striking distance, as is Emma Carter. But they've started to put a bit of a gap between themselves and fourth-place Christian Vargas. So these three are starting to become main contenders. We're only on the third lap, but you never know what could possibly happen between now and the checkered flag.
Absolutely. These road courses, they can put a driver to the test, especially if, like, say, some of the rookies in the field that may have never seen a road course before or have minimal road course experience, that they could really put them to the test. But if it's something that they're used to in other racing series, they might have been a part of.
Contact in the back.
Whoa.
We almost had a bit of contact between Jake McMillan and Christian Vargas. They settle it out amongst themselves. Mark Davey is swept up to 4th spot in that, and McMillan up to 5th. That's knocked Vargas back to the 6th position, where he's got a mirror full of Jared Polansky in the 18R All-Star race winner, who announced he's hanging up the helmet at season's end. He's looking for one last hurrah in a points race, and this would be a great place to make it happen. He's currently 7th, 3 seconds off the lead.
And he got that. You talk about points racing, that would definitely be something to really be happy with as he heads out of the sport. But he's got a lot of work to do. He's got, like you said, a good gap to get there.
And it's growing all the time, because as for however many laps he's going to be stuck behind traffic like Vargas and McMillan, Ben McDonald is just streaking further and further away. So he's got to clear these cars quickly and effectively, efficiently, all those words and more. But because Ben McDonald is pulling out quite a big gap over Devin Fair in 2nd place. This could be a very critical moment of the race for this 12 team.
It could be, and I think he might not have to worry too much about Fair and Carter, because Mark Davey there, he's determined. He's pretty much right on Carter there.
Yeah, Mark Davey, this should come as no surprise. He's won our only ever road course race of the season so far at Monza. He has 3 Nitro National Series wins on road courses. He knows how to get around these places, and he just loves making the trip to turn left and right. He started this race all the way back in 8th. He's already gained 4 spots up to 4th, and now he's on the bumper of Emma Carter, trying to take that 3rd spot away.
Yeah, on the bumper, it looks like Fair might get on the bumper of McDonald here soon if he keeps going for it, because he's closed a little bit just since we've been talking about Davey.
Yeah, Devin Fair, he's no slouch when it comes to road courses either. Of course, his only Superstar Series win up to this point came on the road course at Montreal last year, so he knows how to get to muscle his way around these twisty turns. As they come through turn 9 for the 5th time in this race, Fair is closing the gap. We'll see if it's enough to maybe make a move into turn 1. I don't know if it will be, but regardless, he's making a charge, and the gap at the top is gone down by 0.2.
And that's exactly what McDonald did not want to see, but even if it's early, he just wants to hold on to this lead the whole race, and Fair doesn't want that to happen.
Although we do have 2 sets of pit stops, 2 cycles to go through in this race, we expect the window to be anywhere from 12 to 15 laps. So they're already halfway through a fuel run, and these tires, they do fall off quite heavily due to the high-speed nature of this racetrack. And you can see McDonald might be struggling a little more on his tires than Vargas is, or I should say than Fair is. So we'll see if this pays off for Devin Fair. Being nicer on his tires, perhaps, than McDonald, we'll see. We're still only 5.5 laps in.
Yeah, and you mentioned Vargas, even if it was on accident, and looking at scoring, looks like Jared Polanski finally was able to get by him and moving himself up to 6th as we continue watching Fair, trying to find a way to get to the 12.
Yeah, but he's starting to lose a little ground as Devin Fair to Ben McDonald. He was at 3.5 tenths behind. Let's see what it is at the line this time around. It looks like the top 3 are pretty much holding station at the moment. Yeah, Fair lost all the time he gained in the previous lap. So it's a bit of a back and forth game right now between the 12, the 51, and even the 70 in third. But we're making our way back to Jared Polanski, Christian Vargas, Nick Ortiz, and the rest of the top 10. This is we mentioned it at the top of the show. This is a great run for Motor Dash Racing and Felix Anderson as a squad as a whole. He started 5th. He's slipped back to 10th, but he's still holding on to a spot in the top 10. A very strong run. And his teammate, Echo Evans-Ross, running just outside the top 10 in 12th. So this could be a big day for this Motor Dash Racing team, who needs a strong run to hang into a good spot in the owner's points.
Oh, definitely, and of course, looking at Evans Ross here, we already know is moving on to greener pastures next year, and this could certainly be a good thing to have a good run with this team before leaving.
Yeah, so far so good for Motor Dash Racing. Even though they've both lost positions in the opening few laps, they're still holding on to very solid runs in the top 12 positions for both cars. And that's just a great run for these guys no matter what the scenario, because they're both outside the top 30 in owners' points as of right now. And they need a good run. They just need to, because the next race is also a road course, and if they're having a good run here, they could have another one in Mexico City.
Going to really be, it's going to be big to get a good result here and then be able to take that momentum down to Mexico and try to continue to ride that wave, as Fair still just can't seem to find a way to get to that 12.
If he can't get there on the racetrack, what he might try and do is make a run at him on the pit cycle, maybe pit a lap earlier, because we expect these guys to lose about 3 seconds in fall off between lap 1 and their first pit stop. So these guys are just slipping and sliding all around this racetrack, hoping to get to the pits before all the others. McDonald, of course, is in the best position, being the leader, but if Devin Fair outsmarts him and makes his pit stop first, that could change this whole course of this race.
Yeah, we've talked about it all along a lot, and last year and into this year, and we'll keep on talking about it because it's always going to be a topic. Pit strategy can make or break someone's race. It could even win them a race, or it could cost them big if there's a mishap on pit road.
And we're only a couple of laps away from that happening, so Fair just needs to keep in touch with McDonald, and I think he'll be okay if he can get there. But of course, McDonald's got his own team of strategists, and they're thinking of the same thing. If they can get in and out of the pits first, they'll be able to hold an even bigger lead. So it's just a matter of holding on to their position and making this work, because if they can make this work, they'll be in position for a big win.
A big win and a lot of celebration, but I know one person who would love to see a big win. He's closing right now, and I don't doubt the party will be big if Fair can go to victory lane here today.
A big one indeed. He's got a huge run down the back straightaway. He takes a peek on the inside of Ben McDonald for the race lead. McDonald shuts the door on him, but he opens it a crack once more down in the run to turn 9. This could be big for Devin Fair if he can make this stick, but I think McDonald's just going to have the legs on him. McDonald holds the lead, but it's a lot closer now than it was this time last lap.
I think that's the closest anybody's gotten to McDonald's since the green flag waved and he took the lead from Emma Carter. And honestly, I think Fair just wants to try to test him right now before going into pits. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, maybe I think the 51's trying to pressure the 12 into using up more of its tires. So, because remember, we said it earlier, the 51 might be being a little kinder to its tires than the 12 to be able to make that run in the first place. And you can see they're already, their nose to tail through this tight, twisty section of the racetrack, and that could be huge. It is going to be huge because
And saw tire marks there. I wasn't sure what was going on. I apologize for interrupting, but
no, we were checking at the back of the field. Doesn't look like anybody's too far behind, so maybe it was just a slight slide for somebody in the race. We'll, of course, bring you updates if anything more serious happens. But right now, Fair's starting to lose touch with McDonald once again, and it's in the same part of the track he was gaining time at.
it seems like Fair is a bit inconsistent on where he catches McDonald and what lap he catches him on. But then again, like I said, he could be testing him.
The problem with testing McDonald at this stage, there's also Emma Carter and Mark Davey back there as well, and they would waste no time in trying to get past Devin Fair to try and track down the 12 themselves. And Jake McMillan and Jared Polanski aren't too far behind either, having their own private battle for 5th. So at this stage, we've got 6 cars in the mix for the lead at the moment, and I'd say any one of them could take the lead if an undercut is the way to go here.
Yeah, we're about to find out here soon. As you talked about it, we're a few laps away, and who knows? Maybe this time we'll see some takers.
Yeah, as they round their way through turn 4 and down into 5. Mark Davies just all over the back of the 70 right now, trying to gain time. McMillan and Polanski close up on the back of them. They're fighting for 5th spot. And then you have to go quite a ways back to find Christian Vargas in the 54. He's 2 seconds off of Jared Polanski ahead of him. And he's only 2/10 ahead of Nick Ortiz behind him. So this could be a big moment for all of these guys. Because remember, we're closing in on the first round of pit stops, and it could come any lap now. But it looks like everybody's going to stay out for now.
Or at least top 6. We'll see about the rest of the field. But right now, McDonald is just minding his own business, looking straight ahead, not worried about Fair at the moment, and I think that's how he would prefer it to be through the pit cycle.
And the gap has grown. It's gone up to 3/4 of a second now for the gap between Fair and McDonald. There's Christian Vargas. We just saw him for a moment. Echo Evans Ross having another strong run just behind Miles Mashburn. That's the battle for 12th at the moment. Justin Henley on trying to get his 3rd top 10 in as many starts this season. He currently just outside in 11th. Roberto Crown Jr. runs 14th after his performances of late. He needs a strong run. Lane Sanders in 15th. He's poised to gain a few spots if he finishes there. Justin Hutchinson 16th. Duke Ansack and Austin Holloman, they're in their own battle for 17th spot. And David Wells in his first race for Finish Line Motorsports, replacing Autumn Koger after that scary crash at Talladega last month. He runs in the 19th position, with J.D. Martin rounding out the top 20, just ahead of Aaron Hall and Stephen Gale in their battle for 21st. But we're approaching the end of the lap, and I would fully expect somebody to try and take a gamble, see who takes it. I think Ben McDonald's already in. Yes, he is. And he's bringing Vargas and Carter with him.
Yeah, so there we have it. This is the strategy calls that are being made. You got Fair in the lead now. He's happy to have the lead, but he knows it's only because somebody ahead of him pit, and he's hoping that the undercut doesn't pay off.
Saw Patrick Smith with a little damage on the front of that 04 Dodge. And you see Dylan Young in the background. He is the other car that came in. So 4 cars pulling off an undercut here on presumably the rest of the field. We'll see how these guys cycle out in the pit cycle. They've rejoined in clear air behind the main pack. So it will be interesting to see as we look at the battle between Brandon Beal and Jason Parker. That is the fight for pretty much the last position on the racetrack, because Devin Fair holding a steady wheel up front, but he's got to be coming in this time.
Yeah, one would think that he would, because you wait too long, you run the risk of running out of gas before you even get a chance to make it back around. And looks like he's coming in now and bringing some others with him.
Looks like he's bringing everybody else with him. They saw what was happening with Ben McDonald. They do not want to waste any time. But it looks like Roberto Crown Jr. is going to stay on the racetrack. He's going to try and get a bonus point for himself. JD Martin's going to stay out as well. We'll see if anybody else joins them there. But it looks like the vast majority of the field's coming into pit lane this time. Looks like the 44 and 37 are staying out as well. And that's oh, we got contact on pit road, the 76 and the 24.
Yeah, we talked about it before. You don't want to have that happen, but if it does, you got to try to be able to recover if the damage isn't too serious. And it's looking like these guys up front have to be thankful that it's a back marker, as it looks like Carter's going to cycle out ahead of Fair.
Yeah, so Ben McDonald already cleared everyone for the race lead. He will be your leader again. But you're right, Emma Carter did get out ahead of Devin Fair for second, and we got a big stack up here trying to get out of it.
I don't like that.
Despite this being a very wide pit lane, you really don't want any misfortune. And you saw Stanley Andrews in the 24 making his first start since the Daytona 500. He is parked it on pit road. This might be it for him.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. He was just running around, and then, like I said, pit stops can either make it, or you could have an accident on pit road and it could break it, and it definitely broke it as Crown comes in, and I'm sure JD Martin will follow.
Yeah, and we saw two more cars stay out with them. Ali Ahmed in the 44 making his Superstar Series debut for Pirate Bay Motorsports, and we had Brandon Beal stay out as well. So those two are more than likely going to come in with these guys. Yes, there they are. And McDonald's going to easily clear all four of them and retake the race lead.
Yeah, this is not what Fair wanted. He did not want to see the undercut pay off, and it did for McDonald and Carter, and now he's going to have a lot more work to do.
Yeah, but he does have a lot fresher tires. Could that pay off in the long run? Because we're not going to have a yellow flag here. Remember, we have no full course yellows on road races. But this is going to be a battle for the final spot in the top 10 right here. Felix Anderson and Miles Mashburn dicing it out for what will be 10th place, because they both passed Roberto Crown Jr. in the pit lane. And here's Sanders and Hutchinson right behind them, battling it out for another spot behind them.
Sanders right back there, hoping these guys get off in the dirt a little bit, even if they don't crash, just so he can get back up to the top 10, but looks like Mashburn's just going to easily scoot away there.
And looking further back to find where we were, there's Roberto Crown Jr. He cycles out in the back half of the top 20. But Devin Fair, he's got a lot of ground to make up now. He's about 5 seconds off the lead. And we see some guys in trouble. A.J. Jones had some damage. Stanley Andrews still parked on pit road. They're not done with the race just yet, but we're closing in on, on half race distance already.
And I think McDonald can just cruise from here for a little while, and not get too comfortable, but not be white knuckle trying to keep people behind him, because he has nobody around him at the moment.
Yeah, he's got a 2.7 second lead over Emma Carter in second. He's got another few seconds back to Devin Fair in third. And I think that 51 is the faster of the two cars chasing him. So Fair is in a bit of a tough spot. He needs to make the undercut work on the second round of stops for sure. If he doesn't do that, he can probably kiss this race goodbye.
And that's going to be really tough on him, because at this point, the way his season's gone, second and third aren't going to cut it. We've seen it in some of his post-race things this year, and he's hungry. He wants that win. He would prefer a win over second place. Anything but a win is just not an option for him.
Well, he currently runs in third, as we're about to we'll take halfway next time they cross the line. And the gap is pretty much the same between McDonald and Carter, but they've gained a little bit on Devin Fair. He might be taking it easy on his tires to try and make a big push at the end of the stint. But we now look back to Christian Vargas. He pitted early. That got him back ahead of Jared Polansky, but I think that 18 is ready to resume their battle from 2021.
Yeah, ready and ready to go because he's there. He wants to get past that 54 and get every position he can because even though they got a long ways to go to get to the lead, and it would take a caution that we don't have happening here, as you said, to get everybody bunched back up. But it's just every position you can get on this kind of event.
Yeah, and you see a couple cars way off pace, that being Brandon Beal and actually Cam Cole in the 27 and AJ Jones in the 31. As you see, they're putting fresh tires on this 24 of Andrews. They might be getting ready to send him back out soon.
And he's several laps down there, and I can imagine the leaders would be very unhappy if he were to pull out in front of them, but it looks like he might not go out just yet.
He's probably waiting for a gap in the track to slot himself into, to make his evening a little more tolerable. But right now, Ben McDonald holds a steady lead up at the front, and you can see Cam Cole and AJ Jones about a minute off the pace. They must have had some issues of their own to deal with. They are well out of contention now. But we're looking now at Ben McDonald. He's led the majority of this race. I think the only lap he didn't lead was to Devin Fair under the pit cycle. So, and you can see Polansky's now fully gotten past Vargas as well. And here comes Jake McMillan trying to make a run at the 54. This could be a big lap for the 54, whether he wants it to be or not.
A big lap in the wrong kind of way. And yeah, you talked about it there. McMillan, he wants that spot. He sees what his teammates doing, and he wants nothing more than to be able to get every position he can, maybe make it a double top 10 for that team.
They're currently second and third in the points, and with Dylan Young outside the top 10, this could be a great opportunity for at least one of them to take the points lead off with the 29 driver. But you see Vargas has had a miserable lap. He was 2 seconds a lap slower on that last lap than McMillan, Polansky, and Finn Guy. He's lost a lot of time. Now he's got the 92 all over his back bumper from the battle for 7th.
And we've talked about these guys. They battle for a number of different things and in this series, but right now Vargas is going, come on, man, leave me alone. But Finn Guy just wants that spot.
But it looks like, the left-hander should bode well for Vargas, and hopefully he'll be able to clear. No, he won't in the turn 4. Finn Guy gets back underneath the 54, and this battle will continue down in the turns 5 and 6.
And then you got Ortiz back there just watching, just waiting to see if Finn Guy messes up Vargas just enough to be able to capitalize. But that's one positive for Vargas. If Ortiz were to come after him and get by him, he wouldn't have anyone else to worry about passing him for a little while.
And the next car that would be pressuring him is his teammate, Justin Henley, who I think would give him a little bit of a break. So, as we cycle through lap 19, you see Ben McDonald. He's got a pretty good lead. It's almost 3 seconds now over Emma Carter in second spot. But this has just been a very interesting race to go over because McDonald has dominated. That's easy enough to see. However, the battles for the minor top 10 positions have been very interesting to watch for all of this race. So it's been a great race from that perspective, but maybe in the battle for the lead, not so much.
Yeah, fans here are going to think this is a dull race because the battle for the lead is pretty cold right now, and it has been staying pretty cold since that pit cycle. But like you said, it doesn't have to be a great battle for the lead as long as there's good racing everywhere in the field.
Yeah, we've had a lot of passing in this race, much more than on your average road course, so I would have judged this race to be a success so far, but we're closing in on the final round of pit stops. They should be coming any lap now, within the next 4 or 5 laps, I should say, and McDonald is just maintaining his lead, hoping that the 70 and the 51 don't catch on.
Well, if they catch on, he might be in trouble, but right now, things seem to be doing just fine for him, and looking at the top two, they don't really have anybody around them right now. The closest Carter has to deal with is Fair, who's a good gap behind and trying but not really succeeding in getting anywhere to catch up to her.
So this has pretty much been the Ben McDonald show up to this point, which has been which is great news for him and his fans who came out from all around to see him. But it's just a very difficult race for everybody else because they're trying to catch this 12, and some of them might even be faster than him. But the problem is he's got such good clean air in front of him, it makes it a bit obsolete.
Yeah, that's gonna be the tough thing to deal with because a lot of these drivers here have good cars that they're working with. It's just that 12 is that much better than them right now.
This much is true. They've got to make this undercut work on the final round of pit stops. Otherwise, Ben McDonald will walk all over them. But there's still plenty of time left in this race. There's still about 15 laps left. It's just a matter of how this pit cycle will play out for the remainder of this race. Because if McDonald pits first again, it's pretty much game, set, match.
Yeah, provided that he doesn't have any issues, which normally we don't see a lot of issues with pit stops for leaders, but it has happened. McDonald's just praying it doesn't, but Fair and Carter are praying it does when it comes to him.
So right now, Ben McDonald holds the lead. It's about 2.5 seconds. Carter's actually been gaining on him the last few laps, a bit at a time. But it's not going to be enough unless McDonald has an issue on pit road or if the 70 pits before the 12. So there's still a lot to be decided, and we've got 13 laps to go. But Ben McDonald making this racetrack his own personal playground right now.
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, he's not really letting off too much, but he's more on cruise than he is on the gas. So at least until it comes time to pit. So it's been pretty easy for him for most of this race.
Yeah, it's been a pretty smooth ride for him, but at this point, he just needs to keep it steady because any mistake can be a costly one here on a road course like this. And you see Carter's dropping quite a ways back now. So the gap stabilized at about 2.5 seconds, and it looks like a couple of guys made an even more of an undercut than McDonald did. Bobo Jones and Sam Denoto, they pitted a lap early to try and gain positions on the cars they were racing. I think Ben McDonald, he's got to be worried now about the traffic he's about to get into.
Yeah, big a track as this is, and the fact that we haven't really had any major incidents has certainly lessened the risk of lap traffic, which has made a lot of people in this field happy, I'm sure, but there's still the risk of it here, as you can see. But if McDonald pits this next lap, it shouldn't be an issue for him.
That might be what they're going to do. As the second he catches these two, the 7 and the 77, the second he catches them is when he dives for pit road. That might be what he's going to do. And if he does that, then the 70 and the 51, they've got to follow him in the second he dives for that pit lane. We'll see what happens, though. They come for turn 9 this time around. And McDonald's coming in. This is the moment of truth. They're not staying with him. I think McDonald's pulled the blinds over him once again.
Yeah, it surprises me that Fair and Carter did not go with him, especially Fair, considering he knows what happened last time when he didn't pit when McDonald did.
It looks like Christian Vargas is the only other car that came with him, so maybe they're just on their own strategy game. Zachary Fitzwater's coming in with them, as is Chase Christ in the 55. But I don't think anybody else is coming. It's just 4 cars once again. A very interesting strategy call for these guys.
And Fitzwater and Chris just wanting to get every position they can. As whoa, we had a little bit of a close call there.
Yeah, that's Ryan Vasquez in the 89 who's battling Ben McDonald now. That is not what the 12 wanted to see, is traffic blending back into traffic, I should say. But it looks like he's able to clear the 89 and the 37. So that much we know is a non-issue. As we see Fitzwater and Christ exiting the pit lane now, looks like Brejhan Stojanovic in the 98, he pitted a lap early, as did Eric Monaco in the 86. So those guys might be in a good position now for their private battles for position, as you see Christ blend back into the rest of the pack. But Carter and Fair, yeah, they're coming in now. They pretty much had no choice.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure some of them are thinking it's over. We blew it, but they got crew chiefs and spotters in there to encourage them if they are beating themselves up over this.
But it looks like a few more are staying out. We got Roberto Crown Jr. staying out again. This time, Echo Evans Ross stays out. J.D. Martin stays out again. Duke Ansack stayed out. But the majority of the field coming in the pit this time.
It's like, yeah, there's more staying out for the overcut than there were last time from the looks of things. So this is going to be interesting.
But once again, McDonald is well clear of the pack that was chasing him down. So, unless something critical happens in the final 10 laps, this could be McDonald's race. You see Aaron Hall with a lot of damage. Maybe he acquired that in the pit lane. As Cam Cole and AJ Jones sit in the pit lane with their damage repair, they could fall out of this race soon.
Yeah, they may be pretty much back markers, but that's still very unfortunate. They just wanted to come in, get some experience, and make some things happen, see what gains they can make, and this certainly is not going to be what they wanted.
No, but for Roberto Crown Jr., he got snake bit trying to lead a lap earlier because his pit stall was right before the start-finish line, and someone passed him before he got the chance. So now he's going to try again to lead a lap, but he's not going to because J.D. Martin stays out another lap. So put the 66 into the race lead, and Roberto Crown Jr., for the second cycle in a row, will not get a bonus point.
Yeah, I'm a little confused about why JD's staying out, but maybe
it's not
there's
just
something
him
to this that we don't know.
It's not just him either. Brandon Beal staying out as well, although he was in the back anyway. He's just trying something different for the sake of trying something different. But J.D. Martin was just inside the top 20 before he pitted. I fully expect him to be outside the top 20 when he finally does make his stop.
Yeah, you stay out here too long, you run the risk of really losing touch. Sometimes, like we said, sometimes it's the undercut, sometimes being right in the middle of the pit cycle, other times it's the overcut. But, undercut certainly is paying off for McDonald.
But J.D. Martin, he did lead a lap, so that will be a bonus point for him. Maybe that's why he went for it. That's got to be why he went for it. But now he dives it off into turn 8, trying to build as big a gap as he possibly can before pulling into the pits. But he has lost 4 seconds of pace compared to his fastest lap of the race. And now I think J.D. Martin really has no choice. Yeah, he's coming this time, and I expect a 37 to join him there.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see, as you saw Emma Carter getting ready to go past 37. Here comes McDonald. He's going to handily take the lead, and he's going to have a sizable lead when this cycle's out.
Yeah, let's see what the gap is, though, at the line between Carter and Martin. 6.7 seconds. That is an unbelievable margin. So, and we're running out of laps, too. We only have about 8 laps remaining. So, you see Roberto Crown Jr., he cycled out to the back half of the top 15. J.D. Martin's probably going to come out right where he came in, which is a bit of a lucky break for him. But we've got private battles going on all over this racetrack for various positions, various races. Fitzwater and Patrick Smith going at it for a spot in the top 25. Anderson Reed trying to join in on that as well. These guys aren't going to be in contention for the win. They're just trying to get whatever positions they can. And how about this for Brejhan Stojanovic? Remember, this team officially shut down over the off month. But thanks to Team Dayspring picking up their assets, this is essentially a Team Dayspring car racing up in the top 25 in a Superstar Series. That's an impressive thing for a team that hasn't made a lot of races lately. But this team will be shut down at the end of this season, so Stojanovic auditioning for a new ride, and he's doing a pretty good job. running just outside the top 25 as it stands right now. And right behind him, the 44, Ali Ahmed, in his superstar debut for Pirate Bay Motorsports. He ran a truck race for these guys a few weeks ago, and he's doing a pretty good job here too, hanging on inside the top 30.
Yeah, that's some real good spotlights for some of these mid to backpack runners. As look back here, and it's looking mighty good for some of them, and that's gonna feel like a win. Whereas McDonald here, he's cruising well on his way to an actual win.
Absolutely. He's just got to hang on for another 6 laps or so, 6 laps or so. And Justin Hutchinson's actually taken the fastest lap away from Ben McDonald. He's the first driver to go into the 1-minute 15s in this race, a 1:15.98. So Hutchinson will get a bonus point for that fastest lap. McDonald's easily locked up the most laps led at this point. But we're coming to 6 laps to go. And McDonald's leads 6.7 seconds. Let's see what it is at the line. Did Carter and Fair close the gap at all?
Yeah. Survey says
no.
That's not. Yeah, that's not very good right now. But it's going to be made even worse with Fair trying to get by her right now. This is going to really hurt their efforts to catch up to that 12.
Yeah, but Devin Fair, he thinks he's got the faster car, and he wants to prove it. He's gotten out ahead of Emma Carter now, and Jared Polanski's closing in on these two as well. The 18 started back in 10th. He started back in 10th. He's now racing for a spot on the podium here today. But Devin Fair, he passes Carter for second. Let's see what kind of inroads he can make on the 12.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, is he going to work too hard and burn his stuff up? Because McDonald, he don't have to use up his stuff. He doesn't have to use up his tires. He's got such a huge lead. He can just run it on cruise right now. As I see AJ Jones running pretty off the pace there.
Yeah, they did get him back on the racetrack, but he is now 3 laps down, as is Cam Cole. Stanley Andrews has got one of his laps back by staying out when everyone else pitted, but he's going to have to come in one more time by the end of this race. So we have 5 laps to go. Let's see what the gap is now. It's not really changed. So at this point, Devin Fair is going to have to gain 1.2 seconds per lap to try and track down the 12 of Ben McDonald. I don't think he's got it in him in that. He doesn't. I don't think that car has it to try and track him down that quickly.
You're right. I would say if he's sitting in the driver's seat of that 51, telling himself he's got a better car than McDonald, he's kidding himself right now, because McDonald has been the dominant car all day, and like you said, it's going to take a mechanical failure or some slip up that I don't see happening for him to be beat.
McDonald, we've said it over and over today, he has been harder on his tires than Devin Fair. We'll see if that plays a factor by the end of this. We're coming to 4 laps to go, though, and I just don't see... It's going to be it's not impossible for Devin Fair, it's just very, very difficult at this stage. But Ben McDonald crosses the line, he takes 4 laps to go. Let's see what the gap is at the line this time. Hopefully it closes up a little bit. Let's see what it is. He gained 6/10 on that lap, but that's still not enough to catch the 12.
Yeah, he might be making gains, but I feel like it's going to be too little too late unless he really starts putting on the proverbial nitrous here.
Yeah, he's got 6.1 seconds to make up still, and that is a lot of time. So unless McDonald makes a mistake, goes off somewhere into the barriers or even into the dirt somewhere, and Devin Fair just clicks off some Herculean laps, this is going to be Ben McDonald's race. But Devin Fair, he's still on pace for his best finish of the season, but this will hurt if he can't catch the 12.
Yeah, but before, he's not wanting to settle for second. He really wants to turn the things around. And yeah, second place would certainly do it, but I doubt he'll be completely satisfied with that.
We'll find out, though. We're coming to 3 laps to go now, and Ben McDonald's just put on an absolute clinic at Willow Springs. This is a great day for him. Devin Fair is now on the same straightaway as him, though, so that's something he's got to keep an eye on. He can see the 51 in his mirror now on the main straight. Let's see. He gained another 0.6 of a second that lap, but he needs to be gaining twice that amount if he's going to have any hope.
Yeah. Hope is all he has right now, and determination to try to get there, but that's all just too far ahead with what gains he's making.
Yeah, there's only 3 laps to go, and at this point, Devin Fair, he's doing his best to get there. He's just running out of laps. I think if this race had been a couple of laps longer, he might have gotten there, but it's just a matter of hanging on at this point for second, which he's got a pretty good gap over Emma Carter, but he's now Carter's got to worry about Polanski behind.
Yeah, she's had to worry about Polanski for a little while, but he hasn't really been applying that pressure much lately. And then you got Mark Davey back there in 5th, just hoping one of the drivers ahead of him slips up and gives him a chance to gain another position, but I don't think he's going to complain too much about finishing 5th at a type of track where he's already got 1 win this season.
2 laps to go from Willow Springs. 5 more miles to decide this race. And the gap now for Devin Fair is down to 5.1 seconds, but he's got to gain 2.5 seconds per lap just to catch the 12, and that's even without passing him. So this is going to take a Herculean effort, but I think it might be too little, too late.
He's hit the afterburners, but I don't think it's going to matter because, like you said, there's just too great a task ahead of him, pending something miraculous happening for him to be able to get there.
As you see Polanski now get around Carter for 3rd, that moves the 18 up into the final podium place, but this is still a good drive from Devin Fair regardless of what happens. It's a net gain of 2 spots from where he started. However, he's got to be thinking this is one that got away from him here. As Mashburn and Henley battle it out for the final spot in the top 10, we're coming to the white flag on this lap.
Flag and the spotter and that is radioing down to McDonald and just telling him, white flag, 1 to go, no pressure, just bring it home.
1 more lap from Willow Springs, and let's see what the gap is for Devin Fair to try and make up. It's only down to 5 seconds even. That's just going to be too much. So I think Devin Fair, at this point in the race, he's just got to hold on to second, because what a job Ben McDonald has put on in this race so far. He's led 28 laps so far, and if he can lead number 29, he will be a winner once again. It won't be a Grand Slam, but it'll be an almost max points day for Ben McDonald, and he will take the points lead after this. So if he can finish it where he is right now, and if Dylan Young finishes back where he is, this will be a change of the points lead right here.
And yeah, it may not be a big crown jewel event here, but winning this and being told he's got the points lead from this win will certainly make him feel like he won a crown jewel event.
And this might as well be a crown jewel for him. It's one of his home races, and as he comes through turn 8 and 9 for the final time in this race, Ben McDonald, in front of his home crowd, is going to see the checkered flag down that long main straightaway, and with the flagman waving it in front of him, and with Devin Fair too far back to make an impact, Ben McDonald takes the checkered flag and wins at Willow Springs, his 2nd win of the season. Fantastic drive from him. He dominated this one and fully deserves it. Devin Fair, he gained another 0.6 on the final lap, but he ends up 4.5 back when the checkered flag flies. The end of this one. A tough pill for him to swallow, but they knew he was there today. Jared Polanski comes home in 3rd for what I believe to be his best result of the season. Emma Carter likewise in 4th. And Mark Davey brings it home 5th for his 2nd top 5 in 2 road course races. Jake McMillan comes home 6th. Finn Guy 7th. Vargas in the drag race of Ortiz barely beat the 91 for 8th. And Justin Henley, actually, this is his worst finish of the season. He comes home 10th at the end of this one. 3 top 10s in as many races, just ahead of Miles Mashburn in 11th. But man, like we said, once Ben McDonald got the lead, this race was effectively his. And he sure put a rubber stamp on it here as we go through the rest of our finishers here today. What a showing from Ben McDonald in front of his home crowd. This is what you want to see.
Oh, it certainly isn't. You're looking right back there briefly at Austin Holloman. The rough patches he's had this season. It may not have been a miracle, amazing top 10 finish like where he started, but to finish the race had to be great for him. So a lot of these smaller teams and these lesser known drivers had little victories here today.
Absolutely. We had drivers who haven't raced in a while making their returns, like Stanley Andrews, who makes his first race since the Daytona 500, even though he finishes 3 laps down. Just making this race was a big win for him. But at the end of the day, there was no stopping Ben McDonald today. He was just an absolute tour de force. And with another road course coming up soon, it could be another chance for him to shine.
Yeah, absolutely. And Devin Fair, you said it. They knew he was here today, and he was as soon as he and McDonald got clear. It was throughout most of the race. It was just those two. Emma Carter got a chance to get back up there a little bit, but Fair got back up to second. And honestly, I think even if he's not too happy with second place, that's momentum for Fair going forward.
Yeah, that bumps him up to 26th in the points. That's up 4 spots, so that's a great run for him, regardless of the outcome. But he'll be looking forward to Mexico City, as we all are, in the 1UP Superstar Series. So, from James Ellison and from myself as well, we say goodbye from the Willow Springs Raceway. We'll see you again real soon in Mexico City for race number 10 of the season. Congrats to Ben McDonald. He gets another win, his second of the season. And we'll see what happens in Mexico City. He might be able to pull off another one there.